Hi everyone, it's Dan Stratman. I'm a retired captain for a major U.S. airline, and if you're an aviation fan or someone who loves to travel, working in the airline industry just might be your dream job. Of course, there's no shortage of craziness in that industry. Sometimes it can feel like a non-stop roller coaster ride. But there are some unique perks that come with the job that are available in no other industry. Employees and retirees have a fantastic benefit that allows them to jet around the world on their airline, oftentimes for free. And not only can they fly on their own airline, they can globetrot on other airlines around the world for a fraction of the price you'd pay for a full fare ticket. In this video, you'll ride shotgun with me as I travel from the United States to the enchanting country of Switzerland and back using my travel benefits. I'll peel back the curtain so you can see firsthand the inner workings of this unique perk. So raise your tray tables and fasten your seatbelts because this is one ride you won't want to miss. Hey everyone, it's Dan Stratman. It's 0:30. I'm at the Kansas City International Airport, getting ready to start my bucket list trip to Switzerland. The only thing that's going to make it better is that I'm going to be flying there for free. Once I get inside, I'll explain. If a plane has empty seats or space available in airline speak, its employees or retirees can sit in those seats for free. Delta has a website for its employees where you can search for flights and see how many open seats a flight has in each class of service. On my airline, your date of hire determines your place on the standby list. The more senior active employees get first dibs on any open seats, followed by retirees. If you haven't signed up for TSA PreCheck, I highly recommend it. It's worth every penny. Since you aren't a paying passenger, you aren't bringing any revenue to the airline for that flight. Airline slang for that status is non-revenue passenger, or just non-rev for short. Your spouse, children, parents, and even friends can take advantage of this benefit. Here's the catch though. You travel on a standby status, meaning you only get on if at departure time there's still open seats. If for some reason the flight before you cancels and all its passengers get moved over to your flight at the last minute, surprise, you'll be waiting at your gate and watch your airplane push back without you. Okay, let's get started. The first leg of my trip was from Kansas City to Detroit on an Airbus A321. The cost to me, free. We had a little unexpected excitement on our flight to Detroit. The captain got on the PA and announced that the aircraft that took off behind us in Kansas City reported seeing debris on the runway.
Doing that as a precaution. Thank you, and we'll get you to the gate as quickly and safely as possible. Thank you.
As a precaution, the flight crew prepared for a landing in Detroit with a damaged tire in case the debris had come from our airplane. The flight crew did an excellent job handling the problem and keeping the passengers well informed and calm. Turns out everything was fine with our plane, so we headed for our gate. The airport in Detroit is one of my favorites. I like the way it's designed and it's very easy to get around in. Detroit has a great USO center. We'll hang out there and wait till our flight later this afternoon. While we were hanging out in the USO, a gentleman walked in and offered his 2 guest passes to the Delta Sky Club to any veterans in the room as a thank you for their service. Since we had 7 hours to kill, we took him up on his incredibly generous offer. It goes to show you that there are many good people in this world. Because of how unpredictable flying on standby can be, it's imperative you have a plan A, plan B, and even a plan C. Our original plan was to fly to Zurich from JFK. That flight was full, so I had to call an audible at the last minute. We decided to fly from Detroit to Amsterdam on my airline, then on to Zurich on KLM. When I fly internationally, I'll gladly choose a less direct route if it means I get to sit in business class. Once you've sat up front on a long flight, it can easily spoil you. You'll never want to sit in coach again. But, as luck would have it, business class was full, so we sat in coach to Amsterdam. It was a long leg, but not paying a dime for the flight sure helped make it more tolerable. As an airline pilot, one of the cool perks of being a member of the club is access to the cockpit on the ground if you ask the captain. So what do you do if the airline you work for doesn't fly between 2 airports? Airlines have agreements with other airlines that allow employees or retirees to fly standby on their planes. You'll have to pay a small fee to fly standby on another airline, but it's much cheaper than buying a ticket. Websites like My ID Travel provide a convenient place to search for flights on participating airlines. You can book through that website and pay what's called a Z fare, which stands for Zonal Employee Discount. You won't see the actual seat availability details for business competition reasons, but a green, yellow, or red smiley face lets you know the chances of you getting on that flight. Delta doesn't fly between Amsterdam and Zurich, so after we arrived, I quickly booked 2 standby reservations on a KLM flight. The cost for both of us was only $183. 2 one-way tickets on KLM would have cost $1,488. We ran to the gate and boarded an Embraer 195 for the short flight to Zurich. During the landing in Zurich, we were treated to a free science lesson. When the air has a lot of moisture in it, you can see the moisture condense as it passes over the top of the wing because of the sudden pressure drop. All right, well, we made it to Zurich. Took a while, but the captain was nice enough to let us look in the cockpit. We appreciate it. Of course. Well, we made it to Switzerland finally. Almost 22 hours from start to finish. Non-rev travel can be a little bit challenging, a little bit stressful sometimes, but the payoff, you get to travel the world and see really cool places for very little money. I think it's a good trade-off. This is why I love to travel. I get to explore new places, break away from my daily routine, immerse myself in new cultures, traditions, and languages, create cherished memories that last a lifetime, and learn about history, art, geography in a way that's infinitely superior to a classroom or a book. Work for an airline, and all that now becomes possible. Switzerland is easily one of the most beautiful countries I've been to. We had a wonderful time and met some great people on our tour. On a whim, the night before we were scheduled to go back home, we decided to jet over to Paris on Air France the next day, see the Eiffel Tower lit up at night, then head back home the following day. We figured, why not? We're already in Europe. Why make a separate trip? That's the type of freedom that non-rev travel gives you. It only cost $98 to fly standby on Air France to Paris. Tickets for the two of us would have cost $1,288. I told Cindy I'd take her to Paris, the City of Lights, so she could see the Eiffel Tower lit up at night. And there you have it, right there. Eventually, all good things have to come to an end, so we had to head back home. When you fly back to the United States from an international city, there's usually a few small fees that you have to pay, so the flight isn't completely free. My wife and I got lucky and we sat in business class from Paris to Detroit. Total cost was only $70. 2 business class seats on Delta for that same leg would have cost $16,100. Now you can understand why non-rev travel is such a popular benefit. Trips that would be unaffordable are now easily within reach. Before takeoff, I went up to the cockpit to say hello. I flew the Airbus A320 for 10 years. Airbus designs the cockpit and handling characteristics of each aircraft model to be as similar as possible to make transitioning to a new model easy. The captain was kind enough to let me sit in the left seat. It felt like slipping on a pair of old, comfortable shoes. The flights to Detroit and then Kansas City went smoothly. Before we knew it, we were back home. Well, we made it back to Kansas City with no problems after a great trip to beautiful Switzerland with a quick stopover in the ever-enchanting Paris. I hope you enjoyed this inside look at how airline employees and retirees can fly around the world for little to nothing for their airfare. I've been to 47 countries so far, and gotta try to make 50 at least if possible. Well, that's all for now. Time to plan my next trip. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my YouTube channel, where you'll find other exclusive content. I'll take you on inside tours of extraordinary places most people rarely get to go. Check out the videos about the exhilarating challenge that is modern-day Air Force pilot training and the exciting activities unfolding at the legendary Edwards Air Force Base. You'll find links to those videos in the description below.